Guys, welcome to AR of our Sunday game, first session. I didn't really have much time to actually properly introduce this game. Unfortunately, it was very busy during the last 2 weeks, and I have that exam on Monday, so after that I'll probably have more time, so more info about this game. So this AR will be very short, but a brief one. And let's see, so first of all, we had a very aggressive NGF, and actually he was allowed by Austria to form NGF quite early, I think two years in the game or something like that. And after that, no one actually fought a war in Europe. There was Italy forming by rebellion, that's Marconi abuse, and meanwhile me playing Greece, I signed a treaty with UK promising to pay the infamy cost of annexing Burma, and in exchange they would help me fight Egypt and perhaps fight Ottomans for my cause. Actually, we did have that in a treaty, not treaty, but in agreement, but we'll see how that actually ended. So the first thing I went for was Sudan, and Sudan made me a lot of money, so that was a quite decent advancement. And after that I was thinking about taking Sicily, but then figured, first of all, that would greatly upset Sardinia, and since Italy was formed really early, that would just be making me another enemy that I really don't want. So it was probably a good call not to go for it, even though it would further boost my industry and also my income, but never mind, I think this is also fine. So I got my core Crete from Egypt and got Sudan. Later on I also took Amhara and Oromia from Ethiopia, which is quite a decent deal. I also spent that infamy to get Shan States and Pegu and what else, this one to UK. And it was basically in the middle of the session, so at that point I had something like this. So I had one core back, and we were planning the war against Ottoman Empire. Now, I also kinda had a deal with Russia, not actually a deal, just a friendly relations with them, and we were planning on attacking Ottoman Empire. Now Russia wanted the cars, I believe, and I wanted my cores back. At that point I think I was at something like 12th or something, very close to becoming a great power actually. So if I was to get all of my cores back, then I would actually become a great power. Now what happened there was, since NGF was kinda isolated and having no friends in Europe, they actually decided to defend Ottoman Empire. Now if this war was only Greece and UK against Ottoman Empire, I don't think NGF would actually join that war, and they couldn't have actually done that much. Now I was quite disappointed by UK because they had some troops here in Suez, like 30k or something like that, and then they only had 15k in Greece, and I told them before the session that I would actually need 30k in Greece to win this war. So they actually didn't transport those troops because all their transporters were busy trying to defend Mexico from USA, and he invested a lot of troops in that war. So once our war started, I couldn't actually do much because the Ottomans simply had way more troops here, and they outnumbered me 3-1 or 4-1, so I simply had to hold my lines here in Greece and hope that Russia and Austria, who actually joined the war a little bit later on, would actually beat Ottomans. Now the problem was that Russia actually started pushing into Eastern Ottoman Empire, but then NGF joined. And NGF was actually very successful at killing Russian troops, and as soon as Austria joined, they also started destroying Austrian troops. Now, Austria and Russia aren't two of our most experienced players, but I didn't really want to drag the game and be annoying, like, oh, do that, do this, don't do that. just let them play. It's Sunday game is more of a casual game and not really that tense game. So if you want to learn, I mean, it was a very tense situation. So if I was to give some suggestions, I don't know how much they could have actually done because they weren't really paying that much attention. But the main suggestion is that Russia and to some part Austria also had all of their troops in one battle, and all of them troops basically moving through one province, and then they couldn't get reinforcements, and once they win the battle they would just keep moving with everything they have instead of splitting troops. So what they should have done was to get the small stacks out and just attack with fully organized armies and give some time to other stacks to actually get reinforcements. Now, that's something you can actually do in the battles also. So you just, if you have multiple stacks in one battle, you can select stacks with small army, I mean with small number of men, and just pull them out of the battle while the battle is still going on. That way you can get reinforcements and move once the new month comes, you can actually move them back into the battle because they will get reinforced. And now, so Austria and Russia had that numerical advantage against NGF, but due to better troop usement or whichever you want to call it, cycle, NGF was able to beat them in pretty much every battle. So NGF was heavily pushing into Austria, and they added acquired Bohemia war goal. Now, at one point, Russia and Austria managed to turn the war here and started pushing NGF back, and NGF had very few troops. Down from all of their troops, they had only 15k. Now, that's 15k in actual men count, but when it comes to brigades, they managed to preserve all of their brigades. They were just very, very low on men, like 50 or 20 men in every brigade, but they managed to retreat all the way to Berlin or to the West Germany. Now, it's a very tough call when you're fighting wars like this. So you either have to annihilate those regiments and prevent them from getting reinforcements, or you need to occupy and get reinforcements yourself. Now, I generally like the second option because it's more likely that you will just be able to get more reinforcement to your enemy than to actually completely destroy his troops. Of course, it's better to destroy his troops, but it's questionable if you can actually reach them because they know where they are retreating and you don't actually see all of their troops. So, unfortunately, Russia and Austria kind of they were between those two. Like, they didn't know should they actually start occupying stuff or continue following German troops. I think they ended up being somewhere over here when Germans actually got their reinforcements and pushed back Russia. Now, at that point, I was really kind of angry about UK not committing too much, and finally Persia joined on our side. Also, UK called in their Indian miners, and we started occupying Ottoman Empire. We finally made some progress here. I was able to beat some of the Ottoman stacks because we didn't actually have artillery in all of the stacks guarding Western Greece. So we kind of started pushing into Ottoman Empire, and at that point something happened. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but the NGF player was pissed about something, so he actually offered me a deal that I just get Thessalia and I get a separate piece, so I accepted gladly. And in the continuation of the war, I think Italy and France also declared war on Austria for their course. Austria just had to give up on that one because they couldn't afford any troops to defend there. And in the end, Austria, Russia, and UK lost the war to NGF and Ottoman Empire. Now, the situation was very unfortunate because I was actually counting on getting all the cores back, because in that case I would actually be a great power. At the moment, let me check the megali there. I think I have 3 or maybe 4 cores on the Ottoman Empire, which would give me some 30 prestige, and in that case I would be ranked, say 98 or around 100. I would be ranked around 9th or 10th place. Also, that would give me an option to invest in countries, so my industrial power would grow, and in that case I think I would be in much better spot. Also in this mod, you actually, like in vanilla, you get bonus research points from being a GP, so that would actually help a lot. Now, as for my research path, I went for, as always, full culture tech and just boosting my literacy as much as I can. Now, Greece does start with 20%, and I was actually around some 30% before I annexed Thessalia. Now, unfortunately, Thessalia has very, very low literacy, as you can see here. On average, it has like 7%, maybe 8%. And that dragged my literacy down very, very much, but I'm still in a decent shape, getting medicine right now. Maybe I should have gotten medicine earlier, but it's still fine. It's only 10 years in the game, so that's fine. As for the other countries, I guess Italy is doing... Actually, the winner of the first session, I definitely have to say it's NGF, closely followed by USA, who actually managed to win the war against UK and Mexico, and perhaps Italy coming in the 3rd place because they managed to get their most important cores back from Austria, and they got to form Italy, of course. So I don't know how France is going to address the threat of NGF, being very, very scary, and potentially even going for Großdeutschland. So for those of you who don't know that is NGF sphering Austria and then forming the greater Germany with everything, basically everything accepted. In that case, we would have a very interesting situation in Europe, even though I'm kind of friendly with Austria. That would be a very interesting thing to see actually in the multiplayer game, and how other players would react to that. So in Southeast Asia we have, well, just usual British dominance, and then Netherlands actually grabbing some colonies. Japan is quite powerful, and they're still not westernized, but they're quite close to it. I'm surprised they didn't go for Korea, to be completely honest, and I might consider getting Korea should I see a decent opportunity to do so. If Japan is not going to be very expansionist and aggressive, I might take an opportunity and do that. But as for my plans for the next session, the 2nd session, I'm going to attack Egypt. I think I'm getting Lower Egypt, which is their capital, with Cairo. That is going to give me insane boost to my manpower, as I think Lower Egypt has 500,000 population, or something very close to it. I might consider getting Matruh or just Middle Egypt as well, so I get one more naval base. And then I think I will be trying to focus on naval tech and see if I can actually colonize. Even though without many cores, it's gonna be very hard to colonize anything really. Now, as for my plans against Ottoman Empire, I think I should be starting a war very, very soon against them, because they are in very poor state. At the moment they only have 26 brigades. That's actually, that's their max basically, because they can only support 3 brigades. So their manpower is really down, and the only reason they have so many brigades at the moment is mobilization. So I should have no problems in beating Ottomans 1 versus 1. I just need no intervention from any other great powers or Ottoman allies to actually beat them. And if I get those scores back, I think we'll be in a very good shape, and potentially, hopefully, I'll become great power in the next session. So it's gonna be a very interesting one, and make sure you don't miss the stream today. It's Sunday. I'm not exactly sure about the time. I know it's actually the same time as the Saturday game, so that would be 7 p.m. Central European Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or EDT, or I'm not exactly sure what the time zone is right now in USA. I think it changed during the summer, but EST was during the winter. No, it makes no sense. Wait. EST, I guess, is 1 p.m. So if you're not sure, just hop on the forums and check for yourself. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you on the stream.